Hey guys, it's your girl aka geekxxchic, and I'm back with another reaction to Runaways. It's been a minute since I've done Runaways. Apologies for that. But we're back in, trying to get this done. It feels like it's gonna take forever at this rate. Jeez. I'm trying to get on top of it, guys, I promise. Anyways, this episode, we are now on episode 7, which is called Last Rites. Last episode, we ended on a pretty huge revelation from Carolina. She let Nico know that her father, aka Jonah, killed her sister Amy, and that basically she wants to help Jonah because she believes her family to be in the ship that's at the bottom of the hole that they're trying to stop being unearthed, right? So basically a huge monkey wrench in the plans. And we didn't really get a chance to see a reaction from Nico, but hopefully Nico will treat this a bit better than she did with the whole Alex telling her the truth about certain things regarding her family, in the past. This one called The Last Rites is a very ominous title. Obviously, Last Rites refers to when someone dies, some of the things, some of the ceremonies that might occur around someone's death. So does that mean we're going to lose someone? Is it going to be someone in our crew? Is it going to be one of the parents? We almost lost Gregory last week. Are we going to lose someone for real this week? We're not going to know until we watch the episode. So without further ado, let's boop and we'll talk about it after. Okay. What is this?
The door.
Is this a foreshadow? Oh, did your brother get blown up?
Here on the first day, I'm so very sorry.
This is so creepy.
Thank you for coming.
I told your father I'd protect you, no matter what.
Yeah, I don't think he quite meant impregnating her in that whole sentence, sir. Bye. Don't you have somewhere to go? Let's get some more Just for Men for your so not black hair. Oh, Jonah's angry. Look at that bottom jaw. All the way out there. Urgh. Some Dr. Doom stuff right there. Meanwhile, back at the hovel.
Yeah, Jonah put you in one of those boxes. Not usually good for somebody.
Wait, where do they get eggs and bacon, yo?
Go away. Leave it to us.
Yeah, so you can handle it like you handled Darius.
Oh, damn.
There is a ship down there.
How do you know?
Come on, Carolina. Truth time.
Are you saying that my parents were stupid and that they died for nothing?
No, not at all, Molly. I'm just saying that there are things about him they couldn't have known.
What about the killing of Amy?
No, Alex is right.
Where does
What?
Nico keep getting these clothes? I don't get it.
Sorry, I checked out of Digidelphia without leaving a note.
Digidelphia. Nice.
Your husband's strength and stamina would have been most helpful. Who wouldn't want Jeffrey Wilder inside of them?
Huh?
That's what he meant. But
Alex, there's a moral imperative here now. There are lives at the bottom of that hole.
Who could be more versions of Jonah?
Exactly.
Why would we help them?
Could be more versions of her.
If you bury them, you bury me.
Okay, get down the hole, bye. This is such thin logic, guys. This is a huge, huge risk that they may be like Carolina, who's half human. Let's not forget that. But, okay, go.
No offense, Miss Wilder.
I'm glad that he remembered his honorifics. This is still his elder. I'm about to do something really, really inappropriate, but I'll call you sir.
I'm trying to save me. Keep all of this from happening.
So he could have another chance with you.
Yeah.
Or not, I don't know, get shot in the chest with fistigons.
We should be able to shut down the engine. If we do that.
There's no escape.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're stuck with Jonah forever.
Yeah, I don't see how that's a plus.
Big celebration. Cake, balloons.
That's a lot of darts. Like, how fast does this thing reload?
Journey and brightness.
These women scare the crap out of me.
The event is tonight.
Seriously, the scariest characters in this show.
You have a piece of paper and a Sharpie? Sharpie for what? I guess not an autograph for that Sharpie. Ballpoints.
Wow, the arrogance.
Hey. Hold it right there.
I love taking son to work day.
Start donkey. I can't believe he just hit him with a 2x4. Woo!
Teenagers lie.
She wouldn't do that. Not to me.
Wouldn't she?
We have a
Bond.
connection.
Right. Good.
She tricked you.
Why would you tell him that? God, you're the worst mom ever.
Advanced being, but you're quite the naive father.
You just did all that just to get at Jonah and you ruined everything.
Or because of you.
Janet's like, well, if you're gonna talk all nice about me, I suppose I could give you a little kiss, you
On
know.
my way right. Vehicles do not get possessed by agents of darkness. Just turn the van around and get back
Agents
here.
of darkness.
You're not going anywhere.
Uh-oh.
Gonzalez. I'm her brother.
Oh,
And
damn!
you and your church are the reason she was killed.
Lose it!
You wanna follow me?
Oh, wow. This family is entirely too trusting.
Don't hope she gets me.
Shoot him! Shoot him! Oh, now you killed a kid. Wow. Good job. Welcome to Murder Club.
There's no other way. Hurry.
Yeah, he said the whole ship was a membrane, so maybe y'all should have thought about that. But you know what? We don't know what's in there, so you know what? Chase, go off.
Zavin, can you hear me?
Zavin, who's Zavin?
Hey, who's Zavin?
I got your message from the future.
What?
I know you haven't sent it yet, but you will.
Oh.
It's still moving.
Not the weirdest thing I've heard today.
So cool.
Wait for a second.
He goes like, I got my own ride. It's all right. Don't worry. I can take care of myself. Thanks. Yes, girl. Work that stunt jump. Maybe slap Jonah across the face with the wand on your way down. Can you do that? Superhero landing. Jonah's like, I liked your brother better anyway.
Yeah.
Ain't never liked you. Nuh-uh, I've seen how crusty that hand gets. You can take that right back, sir. No, no, sir. Ooh, they weren't kidding about the birth thing. That doesn't look appealing at all. Oh, Zavin looks gross.
So do we.
Oh,
Badass
okay.
is one.
Alien 0.
Too early to gloat, Molly. But you're young. I'll let it slide. Look at his face. Oh, you guys are in so much trouble. Oh, he's mad. He's so mad. Yep. It's the slow stand. Uh-oh, the jaw's fully extended, guys. Get him, Jonah. Yeah. He don't even care about his skin routine no more. Y'all going down. Uh-oh. Someone was distracted. Oh, dear. Is it a little cold outside? You look like you're shriveling up. Ah, gross, no. God knows what was in there. It's raining sun. Hallelujah. Bye, Zavin. Ah, revenge. This is a lot of slow motion, guys. What is even going on? That jump, though. And Nico in the house. Take him out. Yeah. I think it's only fair. Totally fairsies. Her sister, your dad. Look at y'all with your jaws dropped. Doing something teenagers do what y'all should have been done a long time ago.
Now we're gonna have to take it off.
Yeah, what?
Good riddance.
Oh, wow. So it rebooted him. Interesting. Was that a shell? He's not dead.
Alex.
Energy always is never destroyed. Wow, that was easy.
Ben? Those concepts are starting to get real blurry.
Taking a life is a very heavy price, even if it was someone who deserved it.
Are you mad?
Understatement.
Why'd you do it?
Really?
You didn't have to kill my father, Nico. You chose to.
Well then, okay guys, well that was the latest, not the latest, sorry, that was episode 7, which was called Last Rites, and it turns out Jonah was the man who took his last breath, at least we think, potentially. There was a whole thing that happened with the rainbow bright moment at the end that has some questions, but pretty good episode. Considering it's not the end, and nowhere near the end, it seems like way too quick of a resolution to our little issue, so that makes me think that something bigger and scarier is on the way, which makes me a little excited actually. Yeah, I guess highlights of the episode. I feel like let's start with stuff that I thought was kind of hinky. I don't know if the whole having Gregory with them turned out to be as useful as I thought it would. I thought we'd see some more meaningful conversations between Gregory and Alex, particularly in regards to Darius in that situation. I get that Gregory didn't want to throw his wife under the bus per se, but I think it would have been very important for him to explain to Alex that that was not what he wanted to do and that it wasn't something that he decided to do. But, you know, I guess at that point, Alex really isn't going to believe much of anything Greg says anyway, so I don't really blame them for not going into depth about it. But I don't know, I just kind of feel like Greg's presence could have really been cut out of this episode because he really didn't provide any information short of the fact that Pride was planning to meet there the next night. Like, that was pretty much the only thing he had. And yes, that would turned out to be very valuable information. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's something they could have gotten. I don't know. I'm not dismissing it. It just kind of feels like a waste. Like it was a waste. But I guess in the end, Jonah was the only person who knew where all the kids were staying. So now that he's gone and they made sure to blindfold Gregory, there's no way for them to know, for the parents anyways, to find the kids easily again. But I guess the big difference is now the kids were initially mostly in hiding in order to keep themselves from Jonah. But now that Jonah's out of the picture, there is a big question about whether or not they really need to continue staying together in this situation. Now, of course, I know they don't want to go home or maybe don't want to entirely go home, but I think in the next couple of episodes, we're going to see a little bit of a difference of opinion on this, because I've mentioned this over in lots of episodes that while all the parents definitely deserve whatever comes their way as far as bad things, some of the parents are not as awful as others. Namely, like Gert's parents are actually pretty legit. Like, they, of course, were complicit in everything, but they were never as actively involved. They've never actually, outside of witnessing the teenagers being murdered, they didn't actually kill anyone. And you could see from the get-go, like, they've been trying to get out of the situation since day dot. And again, I'm not absolving them, but if you look at the scheme of, like, worse, you know, the level of crimes and how, I guess you could say, awful they are in degree, you know, what the heck are I keep forgetting their last names, but the Gertz family, they're definitely the least problematic out of that group. And I'd say second to that would be actually Chase's parents. Janet, very much just in the shadow of everything, doing what she needed to do to keep Chase alive. And Victor, outside of the crap he did with Chase, he really wasn't someone who was actively trying to hurt anyone. Although when he was crazy and hallucinating, he did hallucinate himself bludgeoning a girl to death. So that is a little bit, that is worrisome. But it didn't actually happen, I guess is the point. Overall, I'm just saying that I could understand that potentially Gert and, well, maybe not Molly, because that's not her biological family, but I could see Gert and potentially Chase not necessarily being against trying to work things out with their parents down the line, just because, as I mentioned, they just aren't, they had good relationships with those parents, you know what I mean? Well, Chase not so much with his dad, but you get my point. Those are kids that had fairly good, solid relationships with their families. As for the rest, I mean, Alex, I understand Alex not wanting to go back. In fact, I feel like he is probably one of the top of the list people next to Nico. Those two are the ones who really have the least reason to go back to their parents. They really have been betrayed on a very deep level by their parents and really have lost all trust in them. So anyway, the whole point is it'll be interesting to see what their reasons will be to continue staying together, considering it is something that's been very challenging for them, and not just because it's living in this old rusty place, but because living with these such different personalities in such a volatile time as your teens is very difficult to do. So yeah, now that Jonah's out of the picture, it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. A couple other things with Carolina's father, well, her stepfather, killing Destiny's brother. Like, this Gonzalez family, you talk about a family that just has the worst luck. Two kids go out to LA, both of them end up dead by the same organization. Like, that's crazy. I need to know who sent him those pictures. Oh no, we do know. That was last season, right? Didn't someone send the pictures to them to say, I feel like one of the kids sent the pictures to the family so that they would know what happened to her. But I digress. Super sad, but also very naive of him to just go after, like, you got to think that if you're going after a group as big as Pride, knowing that they're rich and powerful people who managed to make your sister disappear, maybe running up on one of them in broad daylight with a gun was not a smart idea. You know what I'm saying? Not the smartest plan. And again, as I said, as soon as he turned his back, I was like, why would you turn your back on someone you just pulled a gun on? Like, that is not smart. He should be in front of you. But he's clearly just there to cause more drama, because now we've got another body on their hands that he's going to have to try to figure out what to do with, because Jonah's not there. We can't make this body disappear the way that it did in the past. Now that Jonah's no longer there and the boxes are also destroyed, This is a real body that they need to deal with. And let's face it, I'm fairly certain that Carolina's mom has no desire to help him anymore, and Jonah's out of the picture. I think she was only being nice to him because it was basically the lesser of two evils. On to this plan. The plan to take Jonah out. I thought that was just very weird. Like, it seemed very half-cocked. You know, we had Molly's parents, Gert's parents getting, you know, their tranks ready, which wasn't a bad idea in the end. And then, of course, we had Chase's parents with the engine disabler, but it just kind of felt like no one had a solid plan and no one was talking to each other. And considering how long Pride's been doing this, it seemed really strange to me that they wouldn't just maybe get together and try to plan something. I mean, I know a lot of their plans have backfired, but every time one of them goes off and does something on their own up until this point, it has gone wrong for them. So this felt like a big enough moment that they really should have collaborated, but in the end, it all worked out because the unknown element of the kids showing up changed everything. I guess we can start finally talk about how Jonah was taken down. It felt a bit anticlimactic, only in the sense of I feel like season 1 in particular built Jonah up to be such a badass, like just someone who was so indomitable, so crazy hard to beat that there'd be no way to do it. And then in the end, it just took a big old stab wound with the virus to do it. Like, I feel like they were shooting all those darts at the ship, but why didn't they shoot a few at Jonah? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like strange that, I mean, yes, I know he had the ability to block things and stuff, but it just seems strange to me that they hadn't tried, especially when he showed up all flaky. They know for a fact that Jonah is weak when he doesn't have sacrifices. So it just seems to me like there could have been a lot more elaborate planning to take Jonah out, but they really haven't gone that far up until now. And I know some of that had to do with the fact that Carolina's mom, right up until last season, pretty much trusted Jonah fully. But it just, when I see how it feels easy. I know it wasn't easy, and it was, you know, obviously a lot of it was there to make Nico look pretty badass with her staff going in with that kill. What I think was very interesting was that the way that she stabbed him with the wand is the same. It reflects kind of the same way that she was stabbed with the staff in the comics. There's a illustration of her with the staff of one in her chest, and I'm like, very interesting that they chose to have her do that, but to Jonah. And I'm wondering if it's maybe some foreshadowing that we're seeing coming up there. I digress. It just kind of felt like, yeah, Jonah was taken out fairly easily. The ship, well, that part didn't really bother me one way or the other. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's fine. The fact that Janet had created something based on the ship's technology, it makes perfect sense to me that it would disable the engine if necessary. But it made it all the way to the surface, though, without causing earthquakes. So I don't know who to believe anymore. My understanding was all along that the ship leaving the ground was going to cause earthquakes. And now it made it all the way to the surface, and it didn't. Unless the remnants of it are still at the bottom. I don't know what that big beautiful globe of light was, if it was just the ship itself, if it was Zavin, if it was more, but we may never know because they blowed it all up. They blowed it all up, y'all. Finally, on to the big dilemma with Nico and Carolina and the fact that Nico chose to kill Jonah. I think that they really choreographed that whole scene really, really well. I loved how they showed like Nico waking up and just freshly remembering Carolina telling her that Jonah was the one who killed her sister, and all this anger. Like, we know from season 1 that Nico's been carrying around so much anger and hate and pain from the death of her sister. And of course, I can only imagine the kind of trauma it would be for you to find somebody who's, you know, any member or family member or anyone you care about, finding them after they've died. So she's had a lot of trauma and a lot that she's been holding in. And we heard in season 1, her parents talk about how Nico, the goth look and everything like that kicked in after the death of her sister. So a lot of that culminated. And then when she sees Jonah, Jonah was like the perfect, you know, he's like the perfect place to just center all of those raw, deep, powerful feelings she's been feeling for so long. And just kind of seeing how it did a flashback to her actually walking in and seeing Amy. So looking at Jonah, who's about to yet again do something very horrible like kill these parents. And it just seems like it all came to the logical conclusion for her that there was only one thing left for her to do. And she goes, she sees the staff, she doesn't even walk over. She skywalkers that staff and says, get over here. And then she just does an almighty leap, make sure she gets but smart, premeditated. She looked at the serum that she saw what it did to the ship. Did she? She didn't see what it did to the ship. Now that I think about it, she was passed out during that part. But anyway, we'll let it go for plot. She gets the serum that was made, the poison, and she makes sure she gets Jonah and she gets him right in the heart. Kudos for aim, FYI. And she takes him out. And I just think that moment was brilliantly done. Even though, as I said, it was a little bit easy. That Mr. Jonah, who's such a badass everyone was scared of up until this point, didn't block that. I mean, I feel like that would have been pretty cool if he just kind of ting, just kind of bounced her off and sent her in another direction. I get why they had Nico do it of all people. She really had a lot to take out on Jonah. And like I said, he became the perfect focal point and for all of that negative energy. But Carolina, that's still her father. That was still her father, the only other person on Earth that was like her, not to mention she also witnessed her brother crumble up and explode in front of her as well. So understandably, Carolina's a bit distraught. She's not dealing with this well. And Nico, as usual, did not exactly come in with the right emotional tone. Is that the nice way to put it? Coming in and being like, hey, everyone's hanging out downstairs and having snacks. You want to hang out? Like, no, Nico. Yes, Jonah did awful things and for all intents and purposes was an awful person, but it was still her father. And Carolina, for the short amount of time she spent with Jonah, she never saw the worst side of Jonah. So she kind of has, you know, that rose-colored glass tinted view of him, and it's still a lot for her to process. Again, the last two people that she knows of that are like her just went up in smoke in front of her. And that's something I don't think Nico's really taken into account yet. At the end there, when Carolina very, very clearly said, like, you didn't have to kill him, you chose to kill him. Like, you know, you could have used your, like, and again, I don't know about the staff part because we're not sure if the staff would have the same effect on Jonah that it does on other people. But I get what she was saying in that Jonah's weakened. He's not as powerful as he used to be. Plus, we know that Carolina is pretty much on par with him. So there were ways that they could have tried to contain Jonah. But I mean, in the grander scheme, of course, Jonah had to die. There's no way that Jonah wouldn't have tried to kill all of them. Carolina doesn't want to believe that right now, but that's the truth. However, Nico's got to be very understanding of the fact that it's going to be right now for a while. Carolina's just going to kind of look at her as like, you're the chick that killed my dad. You know, you did that. At some point, I will see that it was for the right reasons. But right now, I'm going to need you to back up and just let me kind of process this. And I'm hoping that Nico can not allow her own guilt over this, because I think it's really important as well that they're showing that Nico's not patting herself on the back or being too okay with this, because even though Jonah was awful and he did need to die, taking a life is not a natural thing. It takes a toll mentally and emotionally on a person that is inexplainable, and it's not something you can avoid. So, unless you're a complete sociopath, you know what I mean? So it's something she's gonna have to deal with and work through, and hopefully she's not going to try to put any kind of guilt on Carolina for not maybe being there for her right now while she's dealing with that, because Carolina's dealing with her own loss. She's gonna have to mourn this on her own, in her own way, and that might mean that she's gonna be a little angry and distant for a while she deals with it. But I guess the main thing is hopefully they'll be able to figure that out and just not go at each other too hard as far as blame or looking for excuses. Nico's just gonna have to live with the fact that there might be a part of Carolina that will never forgive her for this. But conversely, hopefully, once everything calms down emotionally, Carolina will see that there was no other choice and that Nico did it to protect all of them in the long run. Yeah, I think overall it was a pretty cool episode. We're definitely interested to see where we're gonna go from here, because now that Jonah, he was kind of the huge focal point of season 1, and this ship was a massive part of season 1. So now that both of those things have been taken out in one episode, though as I mentioned, there was some kind of an energy release from Jonah. And of course, if you're going with the deepest of physics explanations, you say energy can never be created or destroyed, it just continually is. So I don't know if that's Jonah's spirit or just the energy that he had inside of him, but it's out there. And it makes me wonder if it is conscious or sentient, can it enter another being? Maybe the body that we saw there was just a host body for Jonah, and I have a feeling that it was. I feel like, because you saw how at the end he was like, who are you? Why are you crying? And he said, what was it? I guess we have to take them all then, or take it all then. So I feel like that was the last sentiment of the real Jonah, and then the Jonah spirit left, and then whatever the body is that he's been using for over 1,000 years was like, wait, who are you? What is this? Huh? And then died before he had time to actually panic attack and realize that he's 1,000 years into the future. So I'm interested to see what happened. Is Jonah still out there? Is he gonna find another host body? And if that's the case, he's gonna be ripe for revenge, and he's gonna have a spectacular advantage of no one knowing what he looks like. So I hope you enjoyed watching along with me, guys. I'm sorry that these are coming out so slow, but I am getting through them. And if you like this video, guys, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.